Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest. Riker, the biggest storyline that's going to be happening, taking over the NBA news media the next couple weeks is the league's best player, in our opinion, at least my opinion, Kawhi Leonard. He's a free agent for the Toronto Raptors, just won NBA Finals MVP, and there's been a lot of news, a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation coming out around Kawhi Leonard the past few days, so we're going to break all of that down now. And the first one, probably the most polarizing take for Raptors fans, that Adrian Wojnarowski put out during the NBA draft. He said that Kawhi Leonard will likely take meetings with the New York Knicks, the LA Clippers, the Brooklyn Nets, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Los Angeles Lakers. Riker, what are your thoughts on just this list of 5 teams that Kawhi could possibly take meetings with, and do any of these teams really scare you in snatching away Kawhi Leonard?
Ben, this time is so much fun for me. This is as exciting or more as the NBA playoffs because I love the speculation and I love the intensity and the waiting and all. Just this whole, like, my brain is scattered right now because God knows. And I don't think the Knicks are going to be a real contender. I think really it breaks down to, I think that the Clippers is really the only real player in this game here between them and the Toronto Raptors. All right, because it seems like the Brooklyn Nets might lock in Kyrie Irving, and I just don't really see Brooklyn being a place that Kawhi would go. If he does go to New York, it would certainly be the Brooklyn Nets over the New York Knicks, I would imagine, but it'd be cool to see him playing alongside RJ Barrett. But what surprises me the most is that I've heard twice today now 2 completely different takes. One is that saying that the Clippers camp is essentially thinking that Kawhi Leonard is completely off the table, that he is going to be visiting Los Angeles over the summer, but that there's really no potential for them to land him. And then the other take is saying that the Clippers camp is 100% convinced. They say they're going to put everything that they can for him and Kevin Durant this offseason, and that they are pretty well confident and certain that he's going to end up a Clipper by the end of this free agency period. So I don't really know what to make of that, Ben. So I'll send it back to you. Do you think that, is there any compelling evidence, right? Because there's a lot of things that are happening now, right? But Kawhi Leonard is an absolute master at concealing what his actual intentions are, what his motives are. He doesn't let his emotions get too high or too low. So we can't even really tell, honestly, if he likes Toronto or not, in my opinion. So what do you think is going on?
Well, as I've reiterated the whole year, I don't think Kawhi has leaked anything from his camp. He initially made the trade request to be in LA at the beginning of the year. I think that was real. That was a real thing. But ever since then, I think it has all been speculation and reporters talking to NBA teams and them speculating on what they think Kawhi Leonard will do. I don't think there's been any true evidence as to where Kawhi will stay or leave. It's just all speculation from NBA insiders and all that, which does have some value, but it's not a player like Kawhi leaking it or Kyrie Irving calling into a radio station. I'm not sure if you saw that meme, but anyways, regardless,
Very funny.
Yeah. Anyways, Kawhi Leonard, I agree with you. I think the Clippers are probably the biggest threat, but one really interesting thing about the Clippers too, and it's been coming out now, apparently Steve Ballmer, the owner of the LA Clippers, has been paying news outlets, paying the media to speak in the Clippers in a greater light. So I think some of the stuff about the Clippers might be overstated, and it might be the media paid off by Steve Ballmer trying to shift the narrative, encouraging Kawhi Leonard, saying this is a great spot to be for him, establishing that idea in his head and the minds of a lot of people that the Clippers might be a better spot. So that's kind of an interesting story that came out, but I think the Clippers are being overhyped as it is. I still think they might be a threat to take them. I don't think they're as big a threat as anyone, as it's kind of being pushed by the American media. But another team that has been gained a lot of fire, so to speak, the last couple weeks is the LA Lakers. Now, they've done a horrible job at managing their cap situation after this trade, but they do have Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and if Kawhi Leonard went there, it would all, assuming no injuries, it would be almost a guaranteed championship. So do you think that's something Kawhi Leonard would do?
No, there's absolutely no way. Yeah. I think he likes to be the number one player now. He talked about it a lot when he had that big Game 7 shot against the Philadelphia 76ers, that he's never had the opportunity to take that game-winning shot before, or that everybody knows it's going to be him, and he liked it. I think that this is really a good opportunity for him to be the man, and he's not a characteristic superstar, and that he's very outgoing and very expressive, but you could see that he really relish the opportunity to be the number one guy. And he did a lot of ISO ball in the playoffs, and he did a lot of demanding plays and stuff. And all that is really good to see for a guy that wants to be the number one player on the team. So I can't see him going and even wanting to try to gel with two other players that are also superstars in their own rights. I'm not totally sold on Anthony Davis. I think he's more of a stats guy, but you know, maybe he'll unleash his full potential here now playing alongside of LeBron James. But I don't see that at all with Kawhi Leonard wanting to team up with LeBron. I'd see more likely would be to see the return of Kyrie Irving, but like you said, it's so mismanaged with the cap space. They need to dump all of their roster guys in order to get another max contract available, and then that leaves me scratching my head to say, is there 10, 11 guys around the league that'll take minimum contracts, you know, $750,000 just for the potential to play along? I don't know. It doesn't seem, the whole scenario is a little bit messy to me on the Los Angeles Lakers side. I definitely see the Clippers being the forerunner, but you're exactly right, Ben. I think all of the things that we're hearing, the media would love it if Kawhi Leonard went to Los Angeles. It's a much bigger market. The Americans, you know, like it or not, when the focus is in Canada, TSN and Sportsnet get a big share of that, right? And Canadians aren't watching it on ESPN. So that's not really good for the overall media in America. They want the best players to be on the biggest market teams so their ratings will be able to go up. But in terms of concrete evidence, really the only things that we've saw is what has been provided or offered to Kawhi Leonard in Toronto and sort of the way that he's reacted and what he's been doing so far while in Canada. And to me, the things that he's been doing, if you want to break them down, have been pretty compelling. Like, I think Canada in general and the Toronto Raptors are making a very good case on why he should stay, whether or not he will.
Certainly, there's a lot of things, but before we shift it into that discussion, you brought up the shot that Kawhi Leonard hit in this postseason, and that was against the Philadelphia 76ers, and some have argued that they might have won the championship if they ended up winning that Game 7. A name that kind of came out of nowhere that hasn't really been relevant in the Kawhi discussions all year was the Philadelphia 76ers, and that caught a lot of people off guard. Do you think that could potentially be a threat? Because Woj dropped that name during the NBA draft. Before we quickly shift into there, do you think that the Sixers could be a threat, or is that just complete
Well, I just spent a lot of time talking, Ben. Do you think that could be a legit threat?
It's interesting because last season, people that listen to the pods knew I thought LeBron James, for his best situation, would be to go to the Philadelphia 76ers because they're young.
Which it would have been, obviously. If he went there, that would have been a sure thing.
Yep, for sure. And they're young, they're talented, but they haven't really done anything yet. So if they got a superstar to bring them over the top, it would still be the superstar recognition. So I think that's all intriguing, but I just don't see it. Personally, the Philadelphia 76ers, they still have their own stuff going on with Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, and I think their focus is going to be retaining those two guys because it's probably a long shot for them to get them regardless because the Toronto Raptors won a championship, and for the Sixers, they have their own talent that they have to retain. So, in my opinion, I think it would be dumb for them to go all out on another guy and then for sure lose Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris. But as you mentioned, there's a lot of positive signs for Kawhi Leonard staying. There's a couple of things that have taken people off guard as well. And if you want to start breaking them down,
Ben, I mean, we got lots of things. Like, we got, obviously, everybody knows the Kawhi and Dine. They know what's been offered to him in terms of housing, penthouses. There's been a tech company that's saying that they would match his contract fully up front, which I don't think would be allowed by the league. There's surely some laws or regulations there because that would basically say that any company can then pay out somebody else's contract. That's more of just a fun thing to show support. In terms of the crowd that showed up, unprecedented in NBA history, that Toronto parade and all the love that Kawhi Leonard has received, I think really came to a culmination at the Raptors parade. Sort of how he looked and acted while he was on the bus with Kyle Lowry and Drake, and sort of in the videos, the Instagram lives and stuff that we saw that, you could hear them whispering different things, saying F Pop, Greg Popovich, and Kyle Lowry jumping out and getting the crowd to chant 5 more years. A lot of Kawhi Leonard's ending speech, his appearance at the Jays game.
Yeah,
a lot of, you can break down whatever you think is the most relevant, but I just think that all of these things, like I said, it's not to say that this is better than him going back and playing in sunny LA or California, where he grew up, basically where he was born, but I think this is as good of a package that can be presented to him on behalf of the Toronto Raptors and Canada and the fans as a whole.
Certainly. And one thing that's very encouraging, because the parades, obviously Kawhi Leonard's going to be excited. That's one of the most exciting moments. It's a culmination of the whole year and one day of celebration with the whole entire city. It'd be impossible, even if he knew he was going to leave, to not be hyped and happy during that. But the fact that he remained in the city and he came to that Jays game when the whole crowd gave him a standing ovation and a tribute, that's a testament to how much he's enjoying the city. He talked on Serge Ibaka's cooking show that he wanted to stay and explore the city more during the summer, go to different parades and festivals. So that all those things, and the fact that he's actually here and doing it is very encouraging. One thing that's kind of taken people aback, though, was that there's a picture came out with him with moving boxes, but that could be him moving into new real estate that's been reported that he purchased, or it could be him going home for the summer. No one can really know that. That's pure speculation. But the one rumor, or the one report, where I think it's been coming from a credible source. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember the specific source now. But apparently Kawhi has registered his daughter into private school in Toronto for this upcoming year, which, in my opinion, is one of the most encouraging things. We saw LeBron James enroll his son kind of this time last year before he made any signings in a school in LA. So it would be weird for Kawhi to register his daughter into a school in Toronto and then end up leaving. So I think that's one that's pretty encouraging for me, Riker. Is that kind of over speculation, or is that a good thing for Toronto Raptors fans to hold on to?
Oh, it would obviously be a good thing because the school season is nowhere near starting yet. It obviously doesn't start until September. But there was reports that he had purchased property in Toronto, and to me, that I said to you that's 100%. He's confirmed. I don't think that he's a guy that's going to be playing the real estate market and the speculation on that, looking to buy and then sell it when the market is better. But then he responded because obviously the reports made their way to the media, the post-game pressers, and they asked him about it, and he just flat out denied that any property was purchased. He emphasized yet, or so it sounded like. He put in that little asterisk. But really everything with this man is a mystery. The reports are saying maybe, I'm sure if he's asked about it, he'll deny it, or at least he won't give a conclusive answer. But if that is the case, I would put money on that he's staying, right? And if we're just talking pure gut instinct, I like Toronto Raptors' chances. I like their chances at retaining him. If I could talk dream scenario, what makes the most sense to me is I could see him wanting to go play in LA. I could see him wanting to play in a big market for his hometown, right? Or his home state. Give him a 2-year contract, right? Let him run it back twice. Kyle Lowry's aged. Marc Gasol is aged. Who knows what the Toronto Raptors will look like in 2 years? Give him a short 2-year contract. He'd still be a max guy at the end of those 2 years. Then you can go and still be relatively in your prime. Then play a full 5-year max contract deal in LA, right? Then Toronto's happy because we have 2 more years. We don't need him any longer than that. We don't need to hog the poor guy, right? But then he's not committing too long to Toronto. So if I was a GM or if I was his agent, that's what I'd be pushing for. Then he could leave and have nobody hate him. He would have the perfect legacy in Toronto. But how it'll actually play out, we have yet to see. But I like I said, I like the case that Toronto is building for retaining the best player that the Toronto Raptors or Toronto as a country has ever had in professional sports history.
Certainly, the Kawhi Leonard, I like the 2-year deal as well. I think that would be the most realistic thing. Not even for the fact that you said he could leave for LA after the 2 years, but if he chooses, obviously that could be an option, but if he chooses to stay, after 2 more years with the Toronto Raptors, he's eligible for that super max with this team. He'd be 30, and that's prime time age to get the biggest contract of your career. So I think that would probably be the deal he goes with if he's with the Toronto Raptors. But we're going to throw out to you guys, everyone listening, you're the best for making this far. What do you think is going to happen with Kawhi Leonard? What do you take away from all this speculation that the American media is coming out, that all these reports are saying? Let us know in the comment section below. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that cool stuff. Riker, you have any last words?
That's it for me. Actually, before, real quick food for thought. Is it true, Ben, that the Golden State Warriors are going to give Kevin Durant, or they're going to offer him the most flexible contract that's been seen in recent NBA history, where he's able to opt out at any time before the final year of his contract? If that is the case, maybe we're going to be shifting to a league where you have contracts such as this, in which case they could give him a 5-year term. Say you can opt out after your first year, and then in which case they give him 1 more good year, 2 more good years, and then he can go and do his thing. I'd love to see something like that. But my head, I'm thinking optimistic, Ben. I'm riding a high. I don't know about you. Other than that, that's it for me. I love this kind of stuff.
Certainly. It's going to be a wild couple weeks. As I mentioned, you're the best for making this far. Cheers.